Now, on Monday, users on Twitter went after President Trump after he launched an incredibly interesting attack against Joe Biden, and one that I actually think might be kind of effective, even though it's full of hypocrisy. Now, on Twitter, Donald Trump claimed that he was the better candidate for African American voters, which is hilarious, but because he approved of a 2018 criminal justice reform bill, while Biden helped pass the 1994 Crime Act. So now, this is pretty interesting. Now, he said, quote, "Super predator was the term associated with the 1994 crime bill that Sleepy Joe Biden was so heavily involved in passing. That was a dark period in American history, but has Sleepy Joe apologized? No." First of all, Sleepy Joe, you had so many different. But again, okay, he can't come up with anything clever because that just, he can't. He's not smart enough. But anyway, my problem here is, oh no, here we go. It's happening again. Now, what do I mean? Hillary Clinton. Look, this is an attack on Joe Biden from the left. The same thing happened with Hillary Clinton on trade. Donald Trump has found an issue where he can hit Joe Biden from the left. And to be fair, it's not exactly difficult to find an issue where you can't attack Joe Biden from the left on. But this is, of course, a Republican or so-called conservative. Now, in 2016, as I mentioned before, it was trade. Now it's criminal justice reform. Now it's African Americans. Now, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is better on criminal justice. No, of course, that's not what I'm saying. I am saying that Biden has a terrible record on criminal justice, especially as it pertains to the black community, unfortunately, just like Hillary Clinton. So he's got that similar amount of baggage. And like Hillary Clinton, I don't think Biden can put together the Obama coalition that led him to victory not once, but twice. But Jeff, wait, you'll say. He was Obama's VP. What are you talking about? Of course he'll be great for the African American community. No. As one commentator pointed out, and I wish I could remember their name, Biden was picked to make white people more comfortable with Obama. It's true. Biden is not great. You look into his record. He has a terrible record. The African American community, as I said, Anita Hill, the crime bill, being against busing, even being somewhat pro-segregationist or something. I mean, just crazy stuff, right? Biden is a terrible pick, ton of baggage, not great. Now, that said, Trump's also horrifying, and probably even more horrifying than Joe Biden. In fact, he's been very, very openly racist most of his time. Social media, by the way, had no problems reminding him. But before I get to that, let me point out that Donald Trump had once not even allowed African Americans into his hotels. And this happened back during the Nixon administration. He was sued for unfair housing practices. Federal officials had found evidence that Trump had refused to rent to black tenants and lied to black applicants about whether apartments were available. They would fill out applications. Both a white and black person would have an identical application. The black person would end up getting denied or told, sorry, we just don't have any apartments, while the white person was immediately offered an apartment. That's super racist. You also had this amazing quote from Trump about his black accountant. Quote, "Black guys counting my money, I hate it. The only kind of people I want counting my money are short guys that wear yarmulkes all day." I think that the guy is lazy, and it's probably not his fault, because laziness is a trait in blacks. It really is. I believe that. It's not anything they can control. That's Donald Trump. That is peak racist rhetoric right there. That is something that you would hear from David Duke. And of course, you also, along with David Duke, you have the casual anti-Semitism in there too. Not only that, you had the issue with the Central Park Five, who even after their release and exoneration, meaning they did not commit the crime, Donald Trump still took out a full-page ad to call for their execution. They're guilty anyway. They must be guilty of something. Something. So Donald Trump's got some really big open racism here. And Biden is not great as well. So, look, it's very easy to criticize both of them. And look, if you're unscrupulous and you don't actually care about truth and facts and your own hypocrisy, like Donald Trump, then he'll be more than willing to use this attack against Biden, which actually could be devastating. Nonetheless, social media did a great job pointing out the hypocrisy, as usual. Jeff Tiedrich said, Mr. President, sir, I have a question. Have you apologized for calling the execution of 5 innocent black teenagers? And technically, they weren't all black, but the majority of the Central Park 5 were actually black. Ryan Hill said, like the time you called for those black teenagers to be executed. Another one. Ryan Hill also says, that time you spent 5 years questioning the citizenship of the first black president. So referring, of course, to the birther nonsense. Grigay says, thousands of kids have been stolen from their parents with no plan in place to reunite them. At least 6 kids have died in U.S. custody. And that is, of course, thanks to Donald Trump's foreign policy. Jeremy Newberger says, I'm not so sure black people are going to be able to vote for you either. They tend to hate white nationalists. Yep. Christopher says, do we need to have the rundown of the crap you need to apologize for? Might be helpful. And finally, Scott Henchinger says, what is hypocrisy? The guy who called for the lynching of 5 black teens and still won't accept their exonerations. You urge police to use more excessive force and wants the death penalty for drug sales, lecturing anyone on criminal justice policy. But, MAGA guys will say, he pardoned an African-American woman. He can't be racist. You know what? That was actually a good thing that he did. Thanks to, of course, pressure from Kim Kardashian, of all people. But one good act or 2 good acts do not erase a lifetime of racism, especially if you actually haven't learned from it at all. As for this attack on Biden, it's true. Biden signed that bill. He has his racist skeletons in his closet too, which says to me that he's going to be a terrible choice for the Democratic nomination. If you nominate Biden, and hear me now, quote me later, it's not going to go well. I have a good track record for these things. As I also said, Hillary Clinton would also likely lead to a Donald Trump presidency. So, hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.